Sail me away on your ocean. This time I drown in you. And all
it is important, that to be asked, and that I ask each one, how are you spending your time? How are you spending your waking state? Where is your attention living? I mean, what is your way of perception? Is it generally outward pointing towards activities and plans of the day and so on? How much time do we give to more introspective or meditative states? How much time are we in direct contemplation or holding the attention in stillness or in the neutrality of the self? These are important, questions to be put, because we see very often that our attention is engaged with some projection, some intention to do something or to go somewhere, and this is a habit, an ongoing habit in the human kingdom, in the human world, because by doing this, it does leave a sense of discontentment, or creates a sense of discontentment about our present life, and make us feel that in the future, we'll have happiness, based on fulfilling our projections or our intentions and so on. But it is seen here that this is a very wasteful activity, and the habit itself, rather than just even saying it is wasteful, it is really a very negative, very destructive one, because the more that we are engaged in the fantasy of the future, based upon, again, the ongoing idea that we are the body, and we are the person we think we are living in the body, and that itself is enough of a trap, in fact, because it doesn't invite an introspection into our true nature. So we have to have the examples of beings who are immersed in that inner state. And it need not be that when we are, the mind is established in the heart, or when we are properly self-centered, not in the psychological way, but in the true way, that activities can still happen. They do happen. It's not that the mistake must not be made that in order to be, self-absorbed in the heart, you have to sit quietly and not move and so on. The state that I'm now referring to as Sahaja Samadhi is a state whereby functions of the body, mind, and senses do happen, but by this time one is so naturally self-absorbed that it does not interfere. The activities that we do does not take us away, as we often use this type of expression, So it is, again, to bring it to the point, the question should be put, and we should be conscious of it. How much are we giving the importance to the activities that are projected from the mind, as which are often just fanciful? How do we spend our waking state? How do we spend the consciousness? What activity do we create for consciousness to be involved in? Or you may say the attention or the mind. And as soon as we find the result of our research, which is highly probable that most of our time in our conscious state, if you want to say that, which is a form of unconsciousness, if you're only projected onto things and doings, then that should help us to really reflect more and rest more in being, rather than in the sense of becoming. Yeah. All Sangha should be our central activity. Whilst work is going on, whilst the work or daily activities, necessary activities are taking place, the mind and intention must be absorbed in the heart. And it's not a question of whether we believe this or not. This is not anything to do with belief. It should be that it is practiced. And then it confirms itself in the practice that it is the most harmonious life, and a life of peace amidst activity, and that one does not have to give up one's activities in order to have a deeply peaceful life, happy life, a life that is emerging out of the oneself, or a self-realized being. That's good.
So what I wanted to share, what I was contemplating this morning, is that, say it's like I'm just here, and whatever is happening, and it's not so much of my business, and like this state of emptiness is here. And then something occurs, like what I told you yesterday, a tendency, and there's the sense of choice being there, whether to stay home or to follow this. And that's like the testing grounds that come. It's like where it's very important also that sorry, I don't know, like where, and there's the consciousness believing itself to be a person, making the choice of staying awake or going back to sleep.
Mm-hmm. So the point is what? You've forgotten, haven't you?
No. I'm just witnessing this, and it feels very beautiful that it's like for a while there's not a sense of any of it's just an isness, and then something arises that seems to trigger a bit of trigger a tendency, and then the sense of choice is there, whether to go with that tendency or to stay back home, to stay empty. And there's something very beautiful with this sense of choice coming. It's like then one has to confirm for oneself that, but this is where I choose to be. Because with that sense of choice, the neutrality is there, and the feeling of.
Well, underneath that movement of seeming choice, there's just a quiet stillness. It's unperturbed.
Yes.
It is not making any decision.
Yes.
It doesn't want to be in another state.
This is true.
It is quietly, ever present. I mean, even say quietly, it's not doing anything. It's not being quiet. It's, quietude, quietness is just somehow some kind of fragrance. It exudes into the conscious field, but it is just there. And the sense of choice is where the consciousness become active to that kind of compressed idea of itself as a person, that then has this, who is obsessed with the sense of choice and doing and becoming.
But it's almost like that there's something to that that play of saying I choose freedom, I choose God. But I hear what you say also. It's also this is seen as a superficial play. Wow.
Yeah. Yes. Even to say, yes, you're picking up right. Even to say, I choose freedom, I choose God, and so on. It is really, of course, becoming an I who choose freedom and choose God, as though these are separate things. It is, you are that freedom. If you choose it, then it becomes another activity that you do. You follow? Whereas if you, higher than this, is just to pay attention to your already emptiness. You're already beyond any category to do something and to be somewhere else. You are the somewhere, the highest somewhere that the person or the mind can be. You're already in that stillness, and you simply pay attention to this. And then the words and the intention seems like an extra busyness that need not be picked up, even though they may seem to be a higher state of being than the previous one. It is still a movement that is unnecessary once you realize that you are the deeper space, beyond even the need for choice. You're here. So the choice place is when we move move the beingness up into the field of consciousness, where there's such things as this and that and choices and so on. But underneath the field of choice is just the isness, or the what we are. And what is amazing about it is that there are people who speak of this even, that their minds or the intellect kind of go there, but still the highest percentage, the higher percentage of their energy is still spent in personhood. And this is what you need to watch out for, because we can say these things and we think we just kind of know them, that's just what it is. But it has to be activated, you see, because until the flour and the yeast and everything gets moist, they're not activated. They're just a dry mix. But the minute you put water or a little bit of milk in it, the whole process becomes like a chemistry. It starts to move. And what I'm meaning by this is that as soon as you not just realize it as a flash of consciousness, which then the intellect wants to steal it, but more that you hold it somehow, that it really sinks and marinates into some deeper space, then it's as though it is confirming itself, like it really confirms. And what is confirmed as your truthful experience will not blow about by the wind. You will not just find yourself like, okay, so now this and now that. Even if it on the lips it may sound like that, it will not carry the energy of the belief that you are this person again moving about. That field will be very shallow. Like perhaps after 2 or 3 sentences in that field, you're already exhausted in the field of personhood. It's like it has no taste. It comes looking very beautiful, but with your first taste, it doesn't taste. Second taste, it still hasn't woken up as anything beautiful. The third, you just drop it. It's not going anywhere. Many conversations are like that, when people are talking, and they're exchanging, they're kind of communicating kind of nonsense.
Yes.
And there's different type of nonsense. There's a nonsense which is like the nonsense, like the things you're saying itself, like nonsense things. But also there's a nonsense which is just energetic nonsense.
Yes.
Easy. And then there's some energetic expression, which is not. It's not anything to do with wisdom, but it's to do with the joy of being.
Yes.
That can sound like nonsense, but you see, there's so many different ways we can look. Thank you.